and gendered violence across all levels of our society. Can I ask you to imagine yourself sitting in a helicopter and it takes off high into the sky, giving you a holistic view of sexual harassment and gendered violence. In the 21st century, and at this gathering, we could be forgiven for not knowing sexual harassment and gendered violence, and worse, across society is a inhumane Western patriarchal construct that originated all across Europe some 2,000 years ago. Then it was just a matter of time before this Western patriarchal construct left the shores of England and was covertly and overtly disseminated across the rest of the world using inhumane violent invasions. And again, it was just a matter of time before this inhumane Western patriarchal construct in the form of an invasion arrived in Australia in 1788 in the First Fleet. And sexual harassment and gendered violence, particularly against women, were at its height because the beliefs, concepts, understandings and practices of violence against women was, and still is, intergenerational cycle. That is, it's passed across and down the generations to boys who become men. These boys who become men have greater potential to live in privilege, where they believe that they can take our body, minds and spirits, and for some ultimately our lives. Men who commit rape, sexual harassment, gendered violence of any degree, and those who don't challenge those violations against women also live in what I call a Western, patriarchal, colonised mindset. These men develop patterns of aggression to violent behaviours, set up verbal and physical barriers that should protect women, spread misinformation, deflect when accountability steps in. These men are actually a minority in our society, but wield so much power over women because down the generations and intergenerationally, they've weaponised violence against women to shut us up and to shut us down out of fear of what if something happens to me? So out of fear, the majority of us stay silent. These men, and in this current climate, some women have ulterior motives to maintain the status quo. To break the intergenerational Western patriarchal colonised mindset, we will never stop rallying and marching, calling them out, to apply every law available against them as perpetrators. Those living in our society with a Western patriarchal colonised mindset depend on us as women to fall into a rabbit warren of hopelessness, in the hope we give up, believing it's all too hard. But we're not going to do that, are we? No. Because we now know the source of the Western patriarchal colonised mindset of perpetrators. It's up to us to protect and empower each other today and tomorrow for our next generation of girls and boys who will one day become the men and women who will be free of violations as they walk together through society with the utmost honour and respect for each other, because they'll know each other and see each other's humanity. Living in one's humanity will one day be intergenerational as well. So, we are going to keep making noise, and yes, we're going to get emotional. We're going to take violations of this nature personal, because this is our basic human rights as human beings who just happen to be women. they had to be a part of inception. So it's not a man-hating perspective from me. I love men. However, with my research and my training, I need to put it out there that there's a name to it. So now, into my welcome to Ghana country after all of that. Thank you. So it's always an honour and a privilege to perform Welcome to Ghana country, as it enables me to acknowledge my Ghana ancestry and ancestors on my dad's side, on my mum's side, Wirrungul ancestry and ancestors from the west coast of South Australia. So where possible, I like to use my Welcome to Country to incorporate an educational component. For example, the Ghana word namani would ask you as a group of people, are you all well? And in response, you would reply, Mani Adlu. I'll say it again, Mani Adlu, which means we're all good. For those who haven't heard the word, shall we just do a bit of a test run of the word Mani Adlu? So on the count of 3, 1, 2, 3. Mani Adlu. Fantastic. So, my formal Ghana to welcome on behalf of myself and my Ghana ancestors, Namani. Fantastic. And many more aren't aware that Ghana country is far and wide. If you imagine a wheel with 9 spokes, and the city of Adelaide is the hub, these spokes approximately extend into the following places: Crystal Brook, which is about 2 hours north of Adelaide, then back down in the southeasterly direction into Clare, about 1.5 hours from Adelaide, still in the southerly direction into Gawler, follow the foothills of the Mount Lofty Ranges, continuing in a southerly direction to the south coast, to the Fleurieu Peninsula, into Cape Jervis, 1.5 hours from Adelaide. And to complete the circle, we'll turn around and head north up the Gulf of St Vincent, pass by Adelaide, Port Wakefield, Port Broughton, and back into Crystal Brook. Furthermore, many aren't aware that the top of Mount Lofty Ranges is the country of the Piramak people. My welcome always acknowledges my gratitude for the sharing of modern Australia. However, I also acknowledge my deepest sadness for the human cost to us as Aboriginal people for this sharing, and that all First Nations ancestors did not surrender sovereignty of their traditional lands, sea and culture, but realising I hope it will always be we have a right, a role and a responsibility to be part of the reconciliation process. In so doing, recognising each other's humanity so that we can move forward as one nation to a place of equity, justice and in partnership together as contemporary Aboriginal and non-Aboriginal Australians for the health and well-being of our future generations under our Great Southern Cross. Our nation of Australians have many cultural backgrounds. So when we walk upon Ghana country, our Aboriginal and non-Aboriginal ancestors ask us to recognise each other's humanity and to tread gently, not just upon Ghana country, but upon the whole of our continent and upon Mother Earth. Thank you all for wanting to honour my ancestry, my ancestors, the Ghana people and our Ghana country in this way. It means a lot to me, my Ghana ancestry, my ancestors, and this is reconciliation in practice. Thank you again for the March for Justice and the committee, and let us heal and grieve for those who have died in the hands of violence for centuries, but also let's leave inspired for future generations. Thank you.